I mean, there is an apocryphal warning behind this film of global warming, a warning about global warming. Next up, we are going to be looking at another film, which is The End We Start From. And in the end, we start from the waters of the pregnant mother, played by Jodie Comer, break in spectacular fashion, and London is submerged. No, those two things aren't directly associated. It's just coincidence. But this is a tense tale of a family fighting for survival. Here's a clip.
It isn't real anymore. Hi. What you missed doesn't exist.
What's going on? I'm just like having a moment, you know.
So I was reminded, I mean, all you young whippersnappers are not old enough to remember this, but I bet Andy does. If you were a teenager in the mid-70s, you will probably remember a BBC series called Survivors.
Oh, absolutely.
Which was
yeah,
by
absolutely.
Terry Nation. It screened in two series from
It was
1975
fantastic.
to 1977. And it was basically the apocalypse arriving in the form of a virus, very much like COVID-19, but a lot more deadly. And basically the relationships and how the few people that survived this thing survived in a Britain that was taken back to kind of the Dark Ages. Absolutely brilliant thing. It was kind of must-watch TV.
Great.
And this reminded me, as a film, a lot of that. It was kind of dystopian. It was kind of a disaster type film. But what really made this is it just has a absolutely brilliant cast. Jodie Comer that you saw there, Joel Fry, Mark Strong, Benedict Cumberbatch, Gina McKee that you again saw on the side of the frame in that clip, Nina Sasanya, and Catherine Waterston, who I thought this was one of the best performances of Catherine Waterston I've actually seen in a long time. And it's really a drama. This film, yes, it's got all of this disaster backdrop to it, but it's really a quite tight little claustrophobic drama, which is a funny word to use, claustrophobic, when most of it is actually set outdoors in the open countryside. But it feels quite tight and small and claustrophobic in the way it's done. And I think it's been brilliantly delivered for a budget of £9 million. I mean, we talked about the budget of Godzilla -1 being $15 million. This is about the same. And what they've managed to deliver in terms of the special effects and making London look submerged, and the street where they live completely battered and cars upturned and complete devastation. I think they've done a minor miracle on this film for the budget that they had available for it. It reminded me a bit in this respect of The Girl with All the Gifts, which was one of my favorite films from a few years ago, which again had an apocalyptic feel that was done on a very, very low budget, but they really kind of eked every pound out of their budget in order to make it look good. So we both heard the director and the writer of this. The writer is Alice Birch. I've completely forgotten who the director is.
Mahala Bello.
That's it. That's
the directorial debut, I think.
Yeah, directorial debut, and that really makes her a name to watch, I think, for this one.
Yeah.
So it was really good, and I was absolutely transfixed. Enjoyed this. The illustrious Mrs. Mann enjoyed this as well, even though she was a little bit worried about going to see a disaster movie featuring a baby. Thought she might get a bit upset, but no, she really loved this one as well. The one thing I thought was a little bit off with the story was that this event is seen as a kind of a one-off. I mean, there is an apocryphal warning behind this film of global warming, a warning about global warming that I thought was really good and solid. But the end of the film, no spoilers here about how it ends, but it's almost as if treated we had some really weird weather and this is a one-off. And I think a better ending would have been to have said, look, global warming is a thing and this thing is going to happen over and over and over again. So
Well, I think that's the human race for you.
Yeah,
COVID could well happen over and over again, and nobody's.
Yeah, but I think there's something in here that it could have been a better film if it had somehow re-engineered things at the end. And I can't go into spoilers as to what happens at the end of that film. Who else has seen this one? Andy, you've seen this one as well, haven't you?
Yeah, I absolutely loved it. I thought this does what great science fiction should do. It presents a message about the future, possible dangers that the human race is facing. I did think that the ending actually, Bob, was in a way typical, as I say, of the human race. We face a disaster, we come through it, and we think, okay, we'll deal with the next one when it arrives. We won't do anything in the meantime. I thought there were great performances. I was particularly pleased to see Gina McKee back on the screen after her towering performance in Typist Artist Pirate King, where she plays a pivotal role. Every film leads back to Typist Artist Pirate King, by the way.
There's still a fiver every time you mention it. Yeah.
But it does what great science fiction should do. It entertained, it gripped, it scared you, it made you think. There's some real genuine tense moments. You don't know how it's going to end right up until that moment. I thought the soundtrack was absolutely terrific. The music by Anna Meredith was really good. Again, the soundtrack
really good.
Downloaded, yeah. As you say, the special effects on a very low budget were impressive. The scenes at the end when they're some people are in a boat rowing through the streets of London, and St Paul's is there in the background and all the rest of it. I just thought that was so well done. You never for once got the impression you were looking at a green screen, unlike The Beekeeper and other much more big budget films. This was much more impressive.
Yes,
really.
It was.
So I thoroughly enjoyed great science fiction, thoughtful science fiction, low key, but really worth seeing.
Yep, indeed. Yep. Score out of 10?
8.
8. I gave it an 8 out of 10 as well.
Yep.
So that comes with a recommended from us, Flickering Dreams score of 8 out of 10, making the end that we start from. Not a very good title, is it? It's very difficult to keep in your head. It kind of
made sense towards the end.
The end from which we start. The end we start from. A 8 out of 10, making it a hit. Good.